नमस्कार। श्री Ramakrishna Kathamrita. तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदादतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भुरिदा जनाः। श्री रामकृष्ण कथामृतो प्रथम भाग षष्ठ खंड और द्वितीय परिच्छेद, the second chapter of the sixth section of first volume of Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in Bengali. In our previous reading, Sri Ramakrishna told us that beautiful story, an anecdote of how what is Brahman cannot be described. And then he had told us about those four friends. They were walking and they came across one huge tall wall which was constructed on the road, and then they were curious, so curious as to what lies on the other side of that wall. So one friend, he, with all his guts, he just climbed that wall, saw what is there on the other side, looked at his friend, but he couldn't utter anything, just saying, ha, ha, ha. He jumped on the other side. Now these three fellows who are standing on this side of the wall, they are, what is it that this fellow saw? Second one climbed up the wall, saw what is going on there on the other side, and again, ha, ah, ah. He also jumped. He couldn't tell the remaining two friends what lies there. And the third person also climbed, went up, started seeing. Same result. Finally, the last one who was waiting there, this side of the wall, to know, Baba, tell me what is happening there. Nobody could tell him what is happening. He finally climbed up and just uttered ha, 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 and jumped, and that's it. Now who will tell whom? There is nobody else now there to know what is on the other side. So Sri Ramakrishna says Brahman is like that. You cannot describe what is Brahman. You cannot say he has got one head and four hands and what is it and what he is wearing. You cannot just describe Brahman, because the ultimate reality is nirguna, devoid of any qualities. It is only Satchit Anandam. And now Sri Ramakrishna today is going to tell us about Jodo Bharat, Dattatreya, Shukadev, and their Brahmogyan. Sri Ramakrishna continues his teaching. Sri Ramakrishna says, Jodo Bharat, Dattatreya, এরা ব্রহ্মদর্শন করে আর খবর দিতে পারে নয়. Jod Bharat, Dattatreya, and all these, they have had the Brahma Darshan, Brahma Gyan. They have realized the Brahman. they have realized Brahman, but they could give no information about what is Brahman. They could not put that fellow Brahman into words. They could not describe him. They could not give any kind of description what it. They just realized it. ব্রহ্মজ্ঞান হয়ে সমাধি হলে আর আমি থাকে না. What happens when one gets Brahmajnan? When one gets Brahmajnan, one's I consciousness vanishes. One gets into the transcendental ecstasy. One transcends this realm of Maya, and he just loses the I consciousness. Ami thakena. The ego, I-ness, just vanishes. There is no separate being, I and you. I vanishes. When I vanishes, Who is going to describe whom? It is like that story the Sri Ramakrishna always tells, salt doll going to measure the depth of the ocean, of the sea. Who is going to tell what? Who is going to describe what? I-ness is not there. ব্রহ্মজ্ঞান হয়ে সমাধি হলে আর আমি থাকে না, no I-ness. তাই রামপ্রসাদ বলেছে. Now Sri Ramakrishna says that's the reason, that's why Ramprasad sings, Ramprasad tells. What he tells? আপনি যদি না পারিস মন, তবে রামপ্রসাদকে সঙ্গ নে না. Now he says what Ramprasad says, that if you cannot attain yourself, you cannot attain Brahmajnana, knowledge of Brahman yourself, O mind, Mune, tobe Ram Prasad ki sange nena, then take Ram Prasad with you. What is this Ram Prasad? Sri Ramakrishna further elaborates on this saying of Sri Ramakrishna from one of his poems, that আপনি যদি না পারিস মন, তবে Ramprasad ke sange nena. If you are not able to reach that end point, that if you are not able to gain the Brahmajnana, the knowledge of Brahman, then better you take Ramprasad with you. Now Sri Ramakrishna gives the explanation. Monir loy hova chai. Sri Ramakrishna says, when you are proceeding on this journey of knowing the Brahman, when you are climbing the wall, what should be the prerequisite? That Monir loe hovajoy. This mind first should disappear. This mind should get annihilated, should get crushed. Abar Ram Prasad, orthat oham tatper loy hova jai. And with this mind, it is not only just mind being eliminated, it is not just mind being crushed, it is not just mind being vanished and dissolved. It is this, after that, this Ram Prasad, the ego, the aham, the I consciousness. Why Ram Prasad has used his own name there? To signify the I consciousness. Once the mind gets dissolved, even this I should get dissolved. Even this I should get crushed. Even this I should get merged. তবে সেই ব্রহ্মজ্ঞান হয়। মনের লয় হবা চাই আবার রামপ্রসাদের অর্থাৎ অহম তত্ত্বের লয় হওয়া চাই, তবে সেই ব্রহ্মজ্ঞান হই। It is only when this mind and the I and the Ramprasad and the Sattvic, this person, this I-ness, this individuality, this ego, when it gets crushed, only then, tobe shei brahmogyan hoy. Only then one can achieve that I-ness, the Brahmajnana. Who am I? One can find the real answer to that question. Who am I? That can be seen. But then that cannot be described because I-ness has gone. The salt doll has merged in the sea. Who will tell what is the depth of the sea? Who will tell what all lies in the womb of the sea? No one there to see. It is all dissolved. It is all disappeared. It has all got crushed. The mind and the I. Ekjon Bhakto. Now, after Sri Ramakrishna says, one Ekjon Bhakto, and it is mostly said that whenever Sri M has put this particular Ekjon Bhakto, that he is hiding himself. Instead of saying M has asked, sometimes he uses this term Ekjon Bhakto. Now he's more curious to know about. Since Sri Ramakrishna has told about Jad Bharat and Dattatreya, there was another knower of Brahman. There was another great ascetic. There was another great saint, Shukadev. So, Ekjon Bhakto, now one devotee asks this question, Mahashoy, Shukdever ki gan hoi noi? Did Shukdev didn't gain this knowledge, this ultimate knowledge? Was he bereft of gaining Brahmajnana? Now Sri Ramakrishna answers, কেউ কেউ বলে সুখদেব ব্রহ্ম সমুদ্রের দর্শন স্পর্শন মাত্র করেছিলেন, নেমে ডুব দেন নই. He says, some people say that Shukadeva, he only saw and touched the ocean of Brahmajnana. He just went there near the ocean. He saw that ocean. He touched it. He touched that ocean of Brahman. But he did not dive deep into it. Only from the bank, only from the edge, he just touched. And what a great jnani he was. What a great pandit he was, Shukadev. Just imagine if he got all that knowledge just by touching that ocean from just a tip. What would have happened had he dived deep? Sri Ramakrishna says, some people say that he just touched that ocean. He didn't dive. Neme dubo dei noi. He didn't dive deep into it. Tai phere eshe oto updesh diyenchen. That's why he could come back. He climbed the wall, saw what is there, but he came back without jumping into that mart of joy. He just came back. He touched it from the edge, and he came back, and that's why Shukdev could give all those great teachings. Just imagine, had he dived deep, it would have been a salt doll merging in the ocean, merging in the sea. But he just touched with the tip and came back. That gave him that knowledge. And he could share that knowledge with others. But still he couldn't tell what Brahman is. কেউ বলে তিনি ব্রহ্মজ্ঞানের পর ফিরে এসেছিলেন লোক শিক্ষার জন্য. And Sri Ramakrishna says that some people say that he had Brahmagyan, he had the ultimate knowledge, but he came back. He came back with the intention of teaching the people, teaching the humanity, but still not teaching what Brahman is. He could only take them possibly. He could also take the other people to the brink of that ocean, to the edge of that ocean, but he couldn't tell them. পরীক্ষিতকে ভাগবত বললেন, আরো কত লক্ষা দিবেন, তাই ঈশ্বর তার সব আমির লয় করেন নাই. He said, this Shukdev, he told the entire Bhagavad to Parikshit. Parikshit, the last scion of the Pandavas. He narrated the entire Bhagavata to Parikshit. And also, he taught people in various ways. আরো কত লোক শিক্ষা দেবেন সুখদেব, তাই ঈশ্বর তার সব আমির লয় করেন নাই. That's why the Lord did not completely eliminate his eye. Little bit was remaining in order to teach the humanity. Had that eye gone, had that eye been dissolved, people wouldn't have known what is Bhagavad. No one would have told Parikshit when he was performing that great yajna. Nobody would have come there to teach him, tell him about the Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire humanity would have been, we would not have been able to know Srimad Bhagavatam, would have been deprived of understanding the Leela of the Lord through Bhagavatam. And therefore, Sri Ramakrishna says that the Lord had retained a little bit of an I-ness, the little bit of an ego, but that was the ripe ego, not the unripe ego that we have. বিদ্যার আমি এ রেখে দিয়েছিলেন. His eye of knowledge was retained. His eye of work would have been just, wiped out. But the eye of knowledge, the ripe ego, was retained. And therefore Shukadev, he might have had the Brahmajnana, but his eye was not totally abolished. His eye was not totally destroyed. So he could come back. He could come back and teach, tell about Srimad Bhagavad Katha to Parikshit, and also given such great teachings to humanity. And that's the reason that some people say he just went and touched the ocean of Brahman and came back. Some people say that of course he was Brahmajnani, but then the Lord retained a little bit of aham in him, which made him do this wonderful teaching. He became a great teacher for the entire humanity. He gave this Srimad Bhagavatam to us, the Leela of the Lord. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna has told about the level of Brahmajnana that Jadabharata and Dattatreya and Shukadeva they had gained. But nobody could describe, nobody could narrate what Brahman is. That is only to be realized, that is only to be experienced. And Sri Ramakrishna himself, he had told his devotees, how much I wish to tell you, but I cannot. Ramakrishna himself, a Brahmajnani, who had known in and out of Brahman, who had known in and out of this creation, who used to look at this entire creation as just the manifestation of the Mahamaya. He couldn't describe howsoever he wished. He used to cry. Tears used to flow from his eyes. I wish to tell you, but I cannot. Because Brahman cannot be described in words. E mukhe bola jaye na. That was Sri Ramakrishna's saying all the time when it came to Brahman. So that is our teaching for the day. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.